beautifully played. He's one of the best in the game at that type of shot. More than enough to give the former world champion the opening frame.
Can you believe that?
Sean Murphy. 64.
Well, after a shocking miss from Sean Murphy,
Saengkham.
Saengkham produces an excellent clearance.
Well, no century break, but he won't be too disappointed about that. That was a terrific break.
Wow, it's amazing how a match can turn. And now he's under pressure. Good performance from Saengkham. He leads at interval 3-1.
Next shot will determine whether he can make a century break. Oh, what a beautiful shot.
78.
And there it is, well played. Sean Murphy right back in the groove.
The first part of the shots there is a horrible one.
5.
He's gone for the cut. Yeah. And what a cut it is. That's unbelievable shot. Sean Murphy, I think, in a little bit of shock. He didn't think he was going to take that on, but he certainly did.
Six.
Doesn't matter about the green.
6 and a frame.
It's the young Thai player, Nakhon Saengkham, who has shocked Sean Murphy, and he takes the session by 6 frames to 3. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Crucible Theatre for what is going to be a fascinating encounter. Can the magician wave that magic wand and get back into this match? Because he didn't have the best of sessions. Important to get a good break off. When he missed that easy red, Ken, everything turned around, lost 4 frames in a row. But when he came back with breaks of 75 and 101, I thought he was on his way, but he lost that 42, just over 42-minute frame, which was a big blow to him.
Yeah, that was to get back to 4 each. And as Joe Perry said in the top of the programme, Dennis, I think it's his concentration that he really has to improve on. Sean Murphy, so let's see, needs a fast start. First session, 4 frames, needs at least 3 of them, you would feel, to have any chance of a comeback. He's certainly playing well enough. I mean, in patches he looked like he was cueing the ball really nicely indeed. Just little bits of concentration cost them there yesterday.
And that read the left side of the table, just in an awkward spot for the safety shot. That's the reason. Nakhon's not trying to get back down the table off the pack. To be fair to Nakhon, he played some terrific shots under pressure. Okay, he hit some of them much too hard. You know, the adrenaline was flowing, but he coped very well with the situation.
Yeah, I thought that clearance in the second frame of 64 was fantastic. Really was, to win it on the black, and that set him off on a nice little run and settled him into the match very early, because he, for all money, looked like he was going to be 2-0 down. Looked a little bit nervous starting off, but that break was wonderful, has to be said. He's a dangerous opponent, coming in here with a bit of form as well. Played very well in the qualifiers. Won his final qualifying match 10 frames to 2 against Eden Sharaf. It's a nice safety shot. Okay, he hasn't hit the ball cushion, and he's left Sean a possible pot into this bottom right-hand corner pocket. Sort of, well, maybe he's not on this red. He's looking at trying to roll into the pack. I thought he might have been on the extreme right red as we look. No. So maybe just 2 cushions into the back of the pack.
Foul. And a miss. Knob on Saengkham 4.
Just the same line. It's a pretty straightforward escape, this. He doesn't want to hit it too hard, but there's very little chance of leaving anything, even with a bit more pace.
Knob on.
He's coming around to have a look at this red just left of the blue. It's cuttable, certainly into the left centre pocket. Got to try and avoid the red just below it on the way back up the table. A little bit careless for Sean to have left him this red. Yeah, it certainly pots. Now, how's the pace of the cue ball? Doesn't look like it's going to get past the baulk line. But if he's dead straight on this, or a little bit off straight on this yellow into the right centre, he'll definitely take it on. There we see the cut. He had to miss the red on the way back. Need a slight angle, and he's got close enough to this red into
3.
left centre. Just a little bit short of pace for the black, and this is tricky.
It's just a matter of concentrating on the cutback and forget about the cue ball. It's going to cannon a red by the looks of things, but put all your concentration into the pot and just let that white take care of itself there. Don't try and do too much with it. It looks as if he's planning to screw it in though, and that's much more difficult.
Knob on Saengkham 4.
And Sean can get to this red. It could be a decent chance because there's, just show you the cutback again. Played it with a little bit of stun to get better position. But I'm just looking at this couple of reds, but if he pots this and gets on the black, he can pot the black and go right into the bunch if he wishes. I mean, he doesn't have to do because there's 2 reds available.
1.
But it's not a bad choice of shot to try and split the pack from here. Left hand side, bit of power, bit of stun. And there's the split, but at first glance he could be unlucky unless there's one to the left middle. Couldn't have split the reds any better there,
8.
Ken.
Yeah, it was a good choice of shot, wasn't it? He's had an anxious look at this red into the left centre. It's pretty tight. Yeah, he may have to use a little bit of right-hand side, but he's not dead set on it. Maybe, well, let me see. Can he hold for the pink into the right centre? If he leaves the cue ball exactly where the red is, he may be on for the pink into the opposite centre pocket. That would be beneficial.
9.
Now, has he got enough of this pink? Body language suggests he does, and yes, there you can see it. Nice shot. Now these are the situations, aren't they, Dennis, that Sean really has to take full advantage of and set out a marker early on in this second session to his opponent that if he misses, he's going to pounce and win the frame from, and that has to put a bit of pressure on Noppon. Can't afford to miss blacks like this at this level.
Thank you. 15.
Sometimes you get away with it, but more often against the top players you don't, and he shouldn't do, the way the reds are split. You can see he's taking his time, Dennis, don't you? Because you know how much he knows and how important this break will be. First frame of the morning session, trying to close the gap. He's got to keep that concentration that he let slip a couple of
16.
times yesterday and cost him a couple of frames.
Well, that was an easy shot with the rest, but we kept talking about Sean, best in the world with the rest. He missed a couple of comfortable pots with the rest yesterday, which surprised everyone. He's missed 3 out of 10. It's usually 10 out of 10 success rate with the rest. Wow, that's
Sean Murphy.
unforgivable.
16.
The only consolation is the black's gone safe, but I mean, dear me. I mean, these are so quick that close you can force an angle like that, but
One.
how costly is that sitter that he missed there going to be?
Well, I said you can't miss blacks at this level, and the top players can't afford to miss them, and that's just unforgivable.
Seven.
Even the shot before that, Dennis, the red with the rest, it should never have been as straight on the black as he was, because he had to try and force the black in, but still, should never have missed that black. It could be very costly.
Eight.
Ooh, just about didn't go into the middle of the pocket, into the right hand side, and he was lucky to be just kissing this red. He almost passed it. He wouldn't have been on the pink, but just a slight little kiss on the red. Okay, he's 6 points ahead. He's got another
14.
straightforward 3 reds, 3 pinks. But then he'll have to tackle a few of the more difficult reds in this break. So it's not
15.
just plain sailing to the winning line of this frame just yet. But he's in a good position.
$21. $22.
That's the number he's looking for, 61, to leave Sean needing a snooker.
28.
But as Ken mentioned, it's going to get a little bit more difficult now.
$29.
He's got a chance now. He's got a nice angle on the pink to can the one near the black if he wishes. In fact, it'd be probably better if he hit cushion first and then cannoned that red. He would leave it on and the possibility of the one down the cushion. So let's see how he decides to play this. Is he just going to drop it in? Well, he got very little angle, so he couldn't play for those two. But this looks good. He's to pull up, though. He wanted
35.
a better angle on the pink to be able to develop the one near the black. And it's a healthy lead, but he's too close to that red. Well, if he takes this pot on, being that close to the red, it'd be some shot to pull off.
$36.
Because it's so close to being a push shot, that because he was so close to it.
Yeah, it was a good pot though, wasn't it? Nicely on the yellow and just dropped behind this red here. Lead goes to 30 now, so he would feel red and blue,
38.
36. So another red and pink would be 43 with 43 remaining, so that's what he would be looking at. Well, maybe he's going now for the pink, so
39.
another red and pink after this pink, and he'll be 44 with just 43 remaining. So he's obviously had a good look at the scores, worked it out.
Now, the one he's closest to, is it straight up into the corner?
45.
Well, it is straight, but he's so close to that, it's awkward as well. But it may have to be that one because he would need the spider, I think, to get to the one down the cushion. Once again, an awkward little shot being so close to it. Oh, well played.
46.
That's a couple of shots where he's finished so close to the red, and he's pulled off two very good awkward pots.
Yeah, no heroics with that pink. 44 ahead now, just 43 remaining.
52.
And once again, a very careless miss from the former world champion has gifted this frame. And that will stop
53.
Sean coming back to the table as well.
Worrying times for the former world champion. He wanted a good start, he hasn't had it. Will he stay in his seat, Sean?
Saengkham. 53.
He's coming to the table, but barring snookers, he's lost the opening frame and he's 7-3 behind. Three, 4 point snookers needed. Don't blame Sean for playing on here just to get his cue arm going, but he might only be playing the one shot because up on, you would feel, should knock this red in the way he's been cueing anyway.
One. 4.
When you open up a 4-frame advantage,
6.
at the back of your mind, Ken, I don't know about you, but then you're thinking, you want to win every frame, obviously, but you just keep thinking of a share of the frames.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time to get to the winning line.
Yeah, of course, the 10 is the magic number in this first round, and he's edging closer and closer now. And he looks very composed.
13.
There's a few signs in there. It was yesterday when he started to hit the ball a little bit too hard, but by and large, he's really enjoyed himself out there. He's come up with some
18.
wonderful shots when the pressure has been on him, Dennis, you know.
Well, he was close to the ball a few times. He won't be potting this, surely. Well, listen, it's close. Surely this is not going to go in. Unbelievable. Well,
24.
I mean, that was, he's not bothered about the black. I mean, what a start. OK, Sean missed an easy black off the spot, but he was certainly punished for it. And with the aid of a 42 break, Noppon now leads by 4 frames. It's 7-3.
Frame, what a way to start the session. And Joe, I mean, how relaxed does he look out there?
Yeah, he looks totally at ease, doesn't he? You know, not worried about what's about to happen potentially, and just looks so comfortable doing what he needs to do, punishing Sean for his mistakes.
And talking about that, it's almost like a repeat of frame 2 of the previous session where Sean missed that red. This time, Sean missed the black.
Yeah, and it's unforgivable. You know, someone of Sean's class to miss a shot like that at this stage of the match really is unforgivable, you know, and he was duly punished. And that's, we said at the start, Sean's got to cut out the unforced errors, and straight away he started off with an unforced error, so he needs to really cut them out if he's going to have any chance in this match.
And is that because he's thinking about sort of a number of shots ahead? Is it an oversight? Is it stiffness in the arm? What would you put that kind of thing down to?
Again, there's no reason for Sean to miss that. You know, his cue action, he should never miss a ball that easy. Maybe he's just took his eye off the pot slightly to try and get a good cue ball, but there was no precision needed there. The reds were scattered everywhere. It was quite a comfortable, straightforward shot. It really is inexcusable.
How big an upset would this be if Noppon were to take this?
Well, from a snooker player's point of view, we know how good Noppon is, so anywhere else, any other tournament, it wouldn't be a massive upset. But at the World Championship, with the year Sean's had, you know, he was coming into this tournament as one of the favourites. It will be the biggest upset so far this year.
So, Noppon, Saengkham breaks off this 11th frame. Sean Murphy's back fairly against the wall now. We said he needed to win 3 of the first 4. And he's got to start motoring. He's certainly capable of a comeback, there's no doubt about that. But it's getting more tough as this match goes on, and particularly when you're gifting your opponent with easy chances and just building up your opponent's confidence as well as deflating your own.
That was quite an attacking safety shot that Sean played there. He was trying to open the reds right up. Once again, the left side of the table, the path is blocked with that red there. Got to be careful if you get on that side and you don't cannon into it. And he didn't avoid the cannon. Just hit that too thick. He wanted a far thinner contact to miss canning into that red. Thinner or even thicker that time would have avoided the cannon.
1.
It's still okay, but he wanted to slip past the blue and have a nice easy one into the middle and back up to the black spot area where there's a few reds available. Just a matter if he can get a run going, Sean. We know he could knock in 2 or 3 century breaks in no time at all.
Thank you.
Dead straight on this red would be ideal. He can play the old stun run through shot where you hit the hole with
6.
quite a bit of pace and the white doesn't move very far. Looks to be almost straight on it. Just a slight angle, but he can still do that.
Seven.
Time to go to work, Sean. You could do with a sizable break here.
Taking this red just to clear the pathway of the black now into the
14.
bottom right hand corner pocket. Those 2 reds near this top cushion are slightly in the way. Not for this shot, but he'd like to get rid of them
15.
in a few shots time. Try and clear it up to two reds that are above the black spot. May try and clear them, but he'd love to get rid of these 2 there. He's got a nice angle to try and dislodge the red just to the right of the black that's near the top cushion. He'd love to do that now, but I'm not quite sure where he will. Maybe just clear these 2 reds first.
22.
Well, as you said, Dennis, a good chance. Get a few points on the board.
23.
Get your arm going. Try and make a sizable contribution. Could go into the pack here. Oh, where's the red going? Oh, well, everything is happening
23.
now. Oh,
Saengkham 7.
well, you can't legislate for that. That's just unlucky. Although those 2 reds did look like it. They were in a line. I don't think Sean had a look at those 2 reds, but at the same time, it is unlucky.
One.
Yeah, he didn't even contemplate that, didn't look at that. But if you see the 2 reds, I mean they are in line for the middle pocket, but it's the sort of thing you wouldn't glance at. It just shows you. It's always worth just having a look around the pack at just to see what is on.
And even the pace, Dennis, I mean, he didn't really have to cue it that
7.
hard. Didn't need that amount of pace in the cue ball to be on the red just above the black spot. And this is what happens when you're under pressure. Your concentration, it has to be spot on. If it's not, your sort of mind gets clouded, doesn't it, a little
8.
bit?
I think that's been the problem for Sean in this match. It's just his focus. He's usually much more focused than he has been. Of course, we mustn't forget he had to go off to Portugal to the funeral of his very good friend and director of World Snooker, Brandon Parker, who managed
14.
Sean for quite a number of years. So, you know, that didn't health matters, but I thought it was going to work the opposite way. I thought Sean would really, that's the armband in honour of Brandon Parker.
$15.
Yeah, he sad loss to snooker in general. Had great foresight, and of course Sean was almost like family to Brandon. Treated him like a son. I'm very upset with it, so he'll be badly missed, Brandon, here this year, as indeed the great WT as well. That was a nice little shot, wasn't it? Just cannon the red down towards into a potable position.
21.
Watch this little cannon on the red right through the pack there.
$22.
Just about okay. I think he can drop the pink in and leave the red. That's to the right of the 3 there. I noticed with a lot of the breaks that Noppon's been making, the ball has been going
28.
right in the centre of the pocket. That tells you when you're cueing really well, because you're not even touching the sides. Just needs another 32 points to leave Sean hitting a snooker.
$29.
Has he got enough angle to cannon the red that Ken had mentioned early on there that were awkward? I think he's got possibly enough angle to stun onto one of them. Not quite yet. He has, if he wishes.
He's just got to hit the cushion first and just knock it away from the other red. Cushion first and knock it into potable position. He hasn't done it. He'd be very disappointed with that.
36.
It wasn't a great shot by any means. The top one isn't potable. The bottom one is, but it's too awkward. He may take the one just above the black up into the yellow pocket. Yeah, he needed to hit that. Almost like half ball. But this is potable. Big shot. Could win him the frame, this shot. If this red goes in. Looks pretty good. Excellent pot.
37.
Superb. Good cueing. We'll have to use the rest for this
41.
next red. Well, he's getting close to the winning line. 25 points ahead. Still 59 on the table, but he's coming out to have a look at the bottom red of the 2 below the black will pot. So one good positional shot after trying to knock in this red. Good pot, very good.
42.
And nicely on the black as well.
He's left himself on that red that Ken mentioned, and that in turn clears the
49.
path for the other.
$50.
And here was the shot. The black into the pack. Just have a look at those two reds there. Now look at the action he got on the cue ball. Didn't have to hit it that hard. Got too much action on the cue ball, and if he had a little bit softer, okay, the red would have been heading towards the middle, but it wouldn't have reached it. A softer stun into the pack. Maybe a little bit of screw on it, but definitely didn't have to hit it that hard, Dennis.
Yeah, as I say, just short of a bit of focus at the moment is Sean. But nothing wrong with this player's focus, that's for certain. Just needs this red for his second frame of this session and to extend his lead to 5 frames. It's going to have to be some comeback. If he knocks this red in, Sean's going to have to really start producing. He's not missing much, is Napon. Looks very assured. 42 break in the previous frame, and then a 53 break to follow that up. And now this.
$63.
Reminds me of Fergal O'Brien. I said yesterday, he steadies himself and then walks into the shot, Ken.
Yeah, it does little river dance, doesn't he, with his feet before he. And again, he does hit the ball quite hard.
Saengkham,
It's effective. 47 points in the lead with just 35 remaining. Barring snookers, he's put another one on the scoreboard and now leads his opponent by 8 frames to 3.
I like this. It's a bit pacey, but it looks very good to me. Coming off the 2 cushions rather than 1. Bit easier to judge when you play it off 2 cushions.
5. Sean Murphy 4.
Yeah, 43 now behind. 35 remaining. 2 4-point snooker. A chance to get the cue ball behind the brown here and red back up the table. It's not bad. Would have been nice if he had been tight to the brown. Got a straightforward 1 cushion escape. You wouldn't expect Napon to miss the red here.
Yeah, at the moment it's 2 4-point snookers required to tie for Sean Murphy.
I suppose there's always a chance of a free ball if he gets the cue ball and red in the right position. This looks like another pretty good snooker. Just needed to travel that little bit further once again. Not snookered, but just another couple of inches with that cue ball would have been pretty good.
1. Five. Seven. Ten.
It's pretty good with the rest, is Napon. Pawn at 11 out of 13.
14.
You see, he's up at 85% pot success rate with the rest.
$19.
Nearly broke the pocket with that one. A wee exhibition shot to finish off with around the houses. Oh, not
25.
quite around the
Frame.
houses.
Knock-on
Almost
Saengkham.
in the pocket, but what a start for Knock-on. Sean Murphy's had his chances, he just can't get going, and this talented Thai player extends his lead. It's now 8 frames to 3.
Sean needs to win frames and win early. He's not doing that. Where does he go from here?
Well, he's almost at the point of no return. He's almost got to play perfect snooker from here on in, because every time Knock-on gets a sniff, he's just making the most of it and winning frames. So it's going to be a big ask for Sean now.
When we talk about Sean Murphy, 2005 world champion, twice runner-up here, but over the last 4 years, he's failed to get out of the second round. What would you put that down to? Because this would be another repeat of that.
It's hard to say, really, because Sean, you know, he's such a powerful player, but sometimes when they're not going in, he doesn't have the B game or the C game that some players have got. He can revert to and just close things up a little bit. It's always all-out attack for Sean, and if they're not going in, he can sometimes be quite easy to beat.
Another thing that Sean's had is in his personal life, the passing of Brandon Parker, his former manager and snooker director. So as well as lockdown, as well as quarantine, he's something very personal to deal with as well.
Yeah, that really would have affected his preparation for this tournament. You know, it's never nice when you lose anyone close, and Brandon was very close to Sean. And yeah, that would definitely have affected his preparation, and, you know, nothing like that's ever going to help, is it?
Somebody else he works with is Chris Henry. He was behind us here when Mark Selby was practicing earlier. When I came in to the makeshift studio, it's also the practice room, Chris was talking to Sean, and you could see it was a really in-depth conversation. Would you have any idea of the kind of things he'd have been saying to him?
I think he'd have been telling him just to concentrate on the game, you know, not let his mind wander, not worry about the score, just try and just focus on the game, play each frame as it comes. But obviously that's gone out the window now, because everything they talked about and prepared for, it's not happened. It's gone the other way.
And Knock-on's temperament, you mentioned to me off camera that he really is somebody who's focused and just doesn't get shaken.
No, he's one of the coolest guys on the tour, as all the Thai players are. You know, you can't fluster him. And you've seen already today, he should start to feel the pressure now, but it's not showing at all.
What do you put that down to when somebody just has that ability? Is it teachable to be that relaxed and that focused?
I don't think so. I think, you know, you've been to Thailand many times, a lot of their culture, a lot of the people that live there, pretty much all of them, they've all got that lovely laid-back nature, and they bring it to the snooker table. I think every Thai player we've ever seen has that same sort of attitude.
First part of it, make a good break-off shot. But yeah, that was interesting what Radsey and Joe was talking about, because I remember James Watson had been. In fact, he went into the monastery for a while with the Buddhist monks and studied with them. So, you know, they are a very laid-back race.
He's
Smashing lad,
cool
isn't he?
customers, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, they're very unassuming, very humble. And Knock-on, there was some little signs yesterday when he started to hit the ball really hard that he was feeling a bit of the pressure. But once again, first chance to Sean. Now, what can you do here? A little wry smile. He will feel the pressure, there's no doubt about it, trying to get over the line. But But if his opponent doesn't make the most of the chances that he's been getting, it's going to be plain sailing for him. Really has to start scoring, Sean. These 2 frames are a must-win for him before the mid-session interval.
8. 9.
He's going to be pretty nervous though inside. Sean Murphy.
16.
He's got to try and gather some sort of confidence. It's not going to be easy. Well, that was a positive
7.
shot. Very positive indeed.
$24.
What does he do here, Dennis? Does he try and come back for the black, or make sure of the frame?
Well, he's got to certainly make sure of the frame, because it's a frame he badly needs. It's a must-win frame. Okay, there's a terrific prize on offer for a maximum break, £40,000, 15 for the high break.
25.
I don't know whether you're with me and Matthew Stevens. Matthew's on 4 reds, 4 blacks against John Higgins, and tried a very difficult shot to get back onto the black. Finished up losing the frame. It would have put him 4-2 up at this stage.
Yeah, we were commentating on that match, and it changed the whole complexity of the game and the dynasty of it, the dynamics. But Sean, obviously going up for a ball colour, so the maximum is out of his mind now. One good positional shot. There's plenty of reds available. It's not hard enough for the 2 reds left of the pink, but may have to take this plant
28.
on into the right centre. That was not a good positional shot, so you can see he's feeling it a little bit. This is a very important break. No, no.
Sean Murphy, 28.
He's just not with it, is he, at the moment, Sean? Because that was a straightforward plant to play there. I mean, just couldn't see him missing that one either, but that's happened a few times. The reason I mentioned James Watson and the Buddhist monk, we did the Real Marigold Hotel with the BBC, and we spent the day with Buddhist monks in Thailand, and it was fascinating to meet the people and see how relaxed they were. And you know, we did practice a little bit with them, and it was, you know, it was something very special.
Yeah, I must say, the only time we've been over playing snooker in Thailand, people so friendly, so hospitable.
8.
Always make us feel very welcome there. Very humble race. Wonderful country to visit. You enjoy the food there, Dennis, don't you?
I enjoy my food anyway, Ken, like yourself. Yeah, I've had a wonderful career.
No.
Very, very lucky to have travelled all over the world playing the game of snooker. And spent a lot of that time with Willie Thorne, as we mentioned, who sadly passed away. And I laughed my way around the world with Willie.
Yeah, and of course James Watton, the first professional who really
14.
sort of broke through, and first very successful professional from Thailand. And an inspiration, I'm sure, to this young man here, and indeed Tep Chaya, who we saw play Ronnie earlier in the tournament.
15.
And I'm sure James Watton is watching back in his native Thailand, and I'm sure he's very proud of the way he's played up on here. Didn't play the cannon on the red, just held the cue ball.
22.
You could play the cannon on the one of the reds, or he can go through the gap up for the blue, but he could play a little cannon on the, when potting this red, on the red just above it to the left, and still be on the pink into the right centre. But he may just play through the gap. He's had a look at the gap. So he's gone for the gap, but he should have hit it a little bit harder. He has an angle on the blue. He could go in and out of balk with the cue ball. Lots of top spin. Left hand side, but the way he's shaped up there, he may leave this middle distance red. Sort of these type of shots show the confidence of the young man, Dennis.
28.
And he's left it a little awkward, the fact that he has to use the rest. If he was a little bit closer to the blue, he could have reached this. As I mentioned, he's been quite successful with the rest, but this is far from easy. He's pretty good
29.
with that implement. I'd have to do something careless, you'd feel, to give Sean a chance in this frame, because there's 5 reds nicely in the open. That's brilliant, 94% success rate in this session. He's left himself hampered slightly here. Could have done without that awkward shot. He was limited to what he could do with the cue ball. He just had to roll that in, but he was always going to have a red. Looked as if it was going to miss, but the pace took it into the pocket. So he's not going to need, he just had a quick glance at the scoreboard, he's not going to need that difficult red near the middle pocket and on the cushion.
Yeah, a little straighter on the black than he would have liked. But he could screw back for the red that he's closest to, if he wishes. Back out for these two below the pink. Now it's a red just off the cushion, and he's on this nicely. You can pot this and just still hold for blue. He's having a look at the scoreboard again. 24 ahead. Ooh, wow.
Saengkham, 52.
Didn't expect him to miss that one. Hasn't missed many this morning. But is that just the first sign of nerves from this young man?
One.
Now what can his opponent do? Red below the pink pots into this bottom right hand corner pocket.
4.
But it's the awkward red. It's on the right cushion just below the right centre pocket. That's going to be the problem.
Five.
He's already thinking about that difficult red and working out where he wants to leave the cue ball. If he gets the correct angle on the pink, he can pop the pink after the red and
11.
cannon that difficult red out. He's just got to make sure he finds the correct spot here for the cue ball, and it would be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, just put a little circle up there somewhere. Well, he's just outside the circle, but he's got a nice angle now on the pink. When he pots this pink, Dennis, he can just, and he doesn't have to hit this too hard, does he? He's just got to brush the red just up the cushion over this right centre pocket.
Now, has it gone too far, or can he sneak this one in?
18.
I think he's just okay looking at that angle there. It's a thin one though. Now where's the cue ball going to finish?
90.
Needs to pull up, and it has. Now I may have to go in and out of the balk area. This will be a terrific shot, and the natural angle is just to miss the balk line with the cue ball off 1-2 cushions and in between the yellow and brown. Well, he can roll across the table and get to a similar spot. It's coming up a little bit short, but
26.
needed just a bit more pace.
Yeah, sign of nerves. When you under-hit the ball or you over-hit the ball. These are tense moments for Sean Murphy. Pretty good with the rest. 9 out of 12 success, but needs yellow, green and brown and the blue to secure this frame. And what an important frame it could very well turn out to be. Big moments.
$28.
Needs the green, the brown and the blue. He's lost 4 frames in a row. This could be the start of a comeback.
$31.
And this will hurt his opponent, no doubt. He had that red into the left centre, up on. Virtually frame ball.
35.
This red, he was nicely on the blue, just hit it to the left hand jaw. Now blue for the frame. Well played.
40.
Sean Murphy, this is a good pressure break. That red was on the last red, was on the side cushion, knocked it out nicely. Pink to cut the deficit and win his first frame of the morning session
Done well.
from the former world champion. It was looking like it was going to be 9-3, but he stole the frame and now cut the deficit to 4. But still, his opponent leads by 8 frames to 4.
But he did so, but not without a big miss.
Yeah, he needed that. You know, for the first time so far that Noppon hasn't fully capitalised here. We see Sean's mistake. And again, you'd have to say that's a poor shot for someone of Sean's standard. He should have got that. But for once, Noppon didn't fully capitalise. And Sean got a reprieve late in that frame and stole it. So sometimes one shot can turn a match, and maybe this could be it.
And it was rare to see a miss like this from Noppon so far. Just hitting
Saengkham, 50.
the left side. Again, he doesn't show a lot, does he? There wasn't much emotion. To your point earlier about the temperament, he just stays quite stoic.
Yeah, he's got a fantastic temperament. You know, he'll be disappointed he missed that opportunity to put himself 1 from victory, but he won't be panicking. You know, he's not that sort of character. It's just one ball basically he's missed, so he can still go fully confident into this next frame, and it'd be nice for him to win it. It'd be a different interval altogether if he was to lose this frame, though.
It was a big frame. Is the comeback now on?
It's on. It's definitely on, and that's what Sean needs probably more than anything, is Noppon just to miss a couple of balls and for Sean to punish him, because it's basically the double whammy, which is what Sean needs to get back into.
So Noppon gets the final frame of this session underway. As I say, Sean Murphy's plan, and he would have been chatting to Chris Henry. The plan would have been to try and win the session, at least 3-1. It's not going to be, but he definitely needs this one. That's a pretty good opener.
1.
But not a favourable kiss on the brown. He wanted to just slide past the brown.
Noppon Saengkham, 1.
Clever little shot there. He's blocked the escape route into the pack from the right side of the table. And he knows if Sean goes into the pack the left side, he'll leave that red that's out in the open. So just got to be a little bit careful here, Sean. Twice across, and hopefully not leave that one that's between pink and blue. That'll do, you would think, but not what he played. He played into the bunch, but does this red go up into the right corner pocket? It's awkward bridging, but it obviously pots, but just the cueing's awkward. Oh, what a shot this is. That's brilliant. It looked so straightforward there, but that was awkward cueing, and to push the cue through in a straight line from that awkward position was, well, we'll give him 10 out of 10 for that.
Excellent shot. Oh, hasn't played a good one there. Disappointed. Very disappointed. He doesn't show
8.
much emotion, but certainly did there, Dennis.
Yeah, he's only going to get 1 out of 10 for this positional shot. Yeah.
Yeah, wanted to just clip that red like quarter ball on the left-hand side, just to, so the cue ball would move a little bit further up the table. He would have been on this red into the right corner pocket. Now, what's he going to play? Is he going to take this red on? It's a very fine cut back here. No, not the right shot for me. Very
Saengkham,
difficult.
8.
Maybe a little bit of panic, but this was extremely difficult. Doesn't have to push the boat out. He can let his opponent do that and try and keep it tight. Oh, great pot. Excellent pot, and nicely on the blue. Cue that one nicely.
And he's purposely, that's coming up a little bit short. He was trying to leave an angle that he could have glanced off the reds
6.
and brought them into play, but he's dead straight, so the next shot is key.
7.
With the cue power that Sean has, it's an awkward pack to go into, but with his cue action and the power he has, when he's playing well, this is not a problem. But he's not just getting the run of the ball at the moment, and that's usually the case when you're struggling a bit.
14.
Yeah, it could have been kinder, that split, couldn't it? Now, is he going to take this red on? Again, once again, a bit like knock-on shot a few moments ago. I think it's just too difficult.
Sean Murphy, 40.
That's not the best shot, is it? I think he's left this red to the right centre. And I think he can take it on, Dennis, without possibly leaving anything. So it's almost like a shot to nothing.
Yeah, that's the key. He can have a go at it and know that he's not going to leave anything. And if it goes in, what a chance. Well, we'll know before he does if it's in or not. No. They touch the jaws, they won't go in.
Straight as a die, that red. Never wavered in the slightest. This is cuttable. Needs a bit of luck. Yeah, he'll settle for that. Nicely on the blue now. Another chance. Red left of the pink. He can just stun off the blue. Down for this. And you can see he's looking at the ground as he came around, trying to G himself up, saying, come on, Sean. This is a good chance. You could almost feel himself trying to get himself going.
Six.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Sean Murphy, 6.
I didn't expect that. Another ball you don't see him normally missing, but these aren't normal circumstances.
1.
Chance missed.
3. Four.
Just looking at those 6 reds, they may be all covering each other, but they're pretty good to go into in a few shots' time from the black. As you can see, nothing available into the right corner pocket, and they all seem to be covering each other into the left corner, so
11.
nice angle on the black when potting this red, and then he can open those 6 reds up, or a few of them anyway.
12.
He can play this 2 ways. He can cannon the red just to the right of the bunch, or he can go into the gap and open more of them up. Just depends how he feels. Just that cannon would do. It's up to him how he feels.
Yeah, he just cannoned that red you
19.
mentioned, and he's still on this red into the left corner. Maybe a little gap out through those reds, back up for blue, but he'd be hitting this with a bit of pace. He may take the opportunity to go into the reds above it, or is he going to play through the gap? Yeah, he played off a red, just trying to develop
20.
a couple more, and he has done that. Now, one good positional shot from yellow, you would feel, right up to those couple of reds around the pink spot. Yeah, that'll do. Nicely played. Big frame, Dennis.
Yeah, and he
22.
doesn't have to play any cannons. They're all going to clear each other. As he pots a red, it'll make another one available.
$23.
Just the one little mistake in the previous frame when he missed the red into the left middle pocket when it looked like he was going to go 9-2 ahead. 9-3 ahead, I should say. And it's a similar type shot to this one, only he's stunning this one, I think.
Yeah, I thought the last frame with that clearance
30.
from Sean, it might have inspired him a little bit. But another very easy
30.
miss on a red into the bottom left-hand corner pocket. It's given up on the chance. And you can see how much concentration he's putting into this, because he knows the significance of this frame to go into the interval, needing only one more for victory. So important for him to win the frame in this visit. He'll be feeling the nerves, the adrenaline will be rushing around his body. And he's just got to hold himself
38.
together here.
$39.
Played perfectly. And looking at Noppon's game, he prefers to hit the balls and stun the shots rather than roll them. He's come up a little bit short here.
46.
Should be okay, but another 6 to 8 inches there, and the red would have been unmissable. Look at the focus on his face there. And he's digging down a little bit into this, as you can see. Safely in though. blue and the easy red that's near the pink spot, and Sean Murphy has got an awful lot to think about at the mid-session interval.
Yeah, it's not like he's been hit with a barrage of breaks from his Thai opponent. He's had plenty of chances, Sean. He just hasn't capitalised. He'll be very disappointed with his performance so far. And whatever words of wisdom his coach will tell him at the interval, he's got a lot to do.
You always feel, as long as your opponent needs a couple of frames, you're in with a shout, but when he only needs the one frame, it's very, very difficult. Doesn't matter about missing the red.
Upon Saengkham.
Well, Sean Murphy was hoping to win this session by 3 frames to 1. As it is, it looks as if he's going to lose it by 3 frames to 1. Just 27 remaining on the table, 41 behind. It's a tall order, isn't it? But it's worth playing on because of the way the balls are situated. Easy to get snookers.
Sean Murphy 8.
But he had a wide margin for error there. Didn't judge it. I think he's in a little bit of shock, as Sean Murphy. And what a cracker that is.
2.
Absolute gem. Okay, no pressure on it. Will Sean concede this time?
Upon Saengkham 2.
Yes, he signals to the referee. He was hoping, as I mentioned, to win the session 3-1. Its opponent, Knock-On, who has won the session 3-1 and puts himself just 1 frame away for a very famous victory. He leads 9-4. You just take 1 frame at a time. We've seen some strange things happen down the years at the Crucible Theatre. It always throws something up, but it would be a remarkable comeback, but not impossible.
No, certainly not. No, beyond the realms of possibility. Has been done before, as the match time comes up to 4 hours 20. It's certainly within his capabilities, but there's going to have to be some effort and complete change around. Going on the evidence of this morning, you don't expect it, but as you said, Dennis, every frame is different, and it's happened many times before. I remember a certain person coming back from 8-0 down, was it, in the final of the World Championship back in 1985.
I'm not allowed to mention that here. You boys don't like it.
You mention it enough, so we don't mind mentioning it ourselves.
But I think Nigel Bond was 9-1 down against Cliff Thorburn and come back 9-2 down and come back and won.
We saw Elliot Slesser, who was, I think he was 9-1 down or 9-2 down against Yan Bintao, came back to 9-7. I'm sure how many people over the years have come back from 9-4, but I'm sure there's a couple. Well, it's a very tall order. A wonderful opening pot from Noppon, nicely on the pink as well, and didn't hold back. It didn't play it with any safety in mind, and that was the best part of that shot. Fully committed. Oh, he's got a bad contact there. That's missed.
Noppon Saengkham 1.
You could hear the sound of that. That was a kick without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. Just pushed to the left-hand side of the pocket.
Just trying to relax again after that unfortunate heavy contact. It was a cracking opening red.
One.
And as you can see, the black's tied up. I'm not sure where the pink will go. It may be also tied up. And that may be perfect, or has it just gone a bit too far? He wanted to be able to pot the red and just flick the other red away from the black and bring it into play, because the pink is going to be a little awkward. Just depends on the angle he has on this red. It would be a big advantage if he can just cannon the red and leave the black on, but it's not quite the angle to do that. Not directly, he can't screw directly onto it, so I'm not guaranteed this. Not guaranteed at all.
Difficulty trying to get the cue ball back into ball because of that red near that right centre pocket. Now, what is he going to do here?
Sean Murphy 8.
Just coming around to have a look where he could leave the cue ball, so as he can leave that red relatively safe, the one that's up to the right of the blue. So if he's up in the jaws of the right corner pocket, it will be safe. Anywhere up in that corner was always going to be good.
They're showing the wrong scores.
I think the scoreboard's maybe just got the wrong scores on, the one in the arena. Jan Verhaas spotted it quickly, I think.
And you look Jan Verhaas, I have to say, for this year's World Championship.
Yeah, I just watched that series Breaking Bad, and he looks like the main character, doesn't he?
Been around for many years, Jan Verhaas, of course, all the way from Rotterdam in Holland. Fantastic referee, lots of experience.
Yeah, that's the other match that's on this side of the arena, so they need to switch them over. That's what we want. It's not what Sean Murphy wants to see, a scoreline like that now. 9-4.
Well, he's gone for this red in the hope of playing it as a shot to nothing, but didn't get the cue ball far enough down this right-hand side. So, not an easy shot by any stretch of the imagination. But the way he's been potting, wouldn't surprise me if he did knock it in. Tough cueing this. And particularly at that pace. Wow.
Well, I can't think of many players that would have played it this way, that's for sure. It was very attacking because he wasn't guaranteed to get on a colour. Very risky, that one.
1.
I suppose he felt so confident, but it's the sort of game you can't really take liberties, even if you're leading 9-4. You still got to play the game as you normally would do, even if the scores were level.
Yeah, I think that's the key for both players in a way. Not look at the score at all. Just focus on what's in front of you. Be interesting to see if Sean happens to claw a couple of frames back. Will the pressure build
8.
on his opponent? Will he be able to camouflage it and keep cool?
$16.
Sometimes then it's in situations like this when you're at a point of no return, you can loosen up a little bit, can't you? You just sort of, you have a go and the pressure sort of comes off you a little bit, funny enough. It's only when it gets a little bit close then the pressure will revert back, but Sean Murphy's case, it could find them. If he gets a frame on the board, he may start to motor around the table and get a couple of frames in a quick succession.
24.
Well, what happens? Your pride kicks in. You know, you want to show what you can do because no one could have seen this
25.
scoreline. Yeah, there's a puff of the cheeks there. Should be okay, but he didn't want to be straight on the blue. But the one near the left corner is okay for him. But it's all about keeping things as simple as possible for yourself in this situation. You know, we keep saying this man can reel off 3 or 4 frames in no time at all, but he needs to get going. There's not much more time left.
$30. $31.
Well, I can't believe that.
Murphy. 31.
He's missed so many easy balls, but that was just a sitter. He wasn't doing anything with the cue ball. He's just not with it at the moment. It's hard to describe how he's feeling inside.
Big blue for Nop on here. It's one you'd fancy him, particularly with 9-4 up, 9-4 behind. Bit different. Well, it goes in, he's got a chance. Great shot.
Six. Seven.
So the opportunity is there now. Okay, 31 points behind. The only difficult red is that red on the left-hand side of the table, close to the cushion. But
it was a terrific blue that he took on there when he tried to split the reds and finish on the black.
14.
As I said, the fact that he's so far in front maybe just eased the pressure a little bit, but it still was a terrific shot and right in the centre of the pocket again.
it's one of those that I'm sure that he would have practiced a lot into those corner pockets, the green pocket, yellow pocket, and of course the two black pockets from the bulk area. He's a pretty good potter
15.
though. He hasn't missed much today. Pot success, 87%. A little bit low. Funny enough, his opponents is 88%.
Yeah, he's had 7 breaks of more than 50, so he's been very, very consistent.
20.
Sean's had the only century of the match, but Nupon's had quite a few 60s and 50-plus breaks.
$21.
Just had a look to see is that red next to the pink potable into this corner pocket as well. Looks pretty tight. Well, we certainly know now. Just get a good look at it. It is very tight. Does it go by the pink?
28.
If it does, it will certainly help the situation. It just about does, yeah. Plenty of room. So 2 reds, followed by, you would feel, 2 blacks, and then try and
29.
attack that red that's on the left-hand side cushion.
Yeah, he's pretty good with the rest, and if he can drop in behind that difficult red in a couple
36.
of shots' time, maybe just leave it about 12 inches or so away from the red. He's so good with the rest, you don't think it would be a problem. He's already gone round and looked at that, so it just means he's got to get a good angle on his next colour to drop in behind that red, and that shouldn't be a problem.
$37.
Could have done with being further out into the table, but I still think he can just drop the pink in. If it's dead straight, he'd probably try and screw back up for the
43.
blue, because then it'd be easier to get to the yellow. And it's just slightly off straight.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem though. He could play off 2 cushions for the black, or could, as you said, Dennis, just screw up for the blue. The cue ball, try and leave the cue ball somewhere where the left middle pocket is.
Where the head of the rest is
Yeah.
at the moment would be ideal, wouldn't it? But if he's got a slight angle and can get out onto the black, he wouldn't have to hit it quite as hard. But let's see how he goes about it. Looks like he's screwing back.
Yeah, anywhere near this middle pocket, and he should be okay.
44.
He's got a nice angle as well, hasn't he? He doesn't have to do too much with the blue, just drop it in. Path of the cue ball will head down towards the yellow, and Sean Murphy is staring a first round exit in this year's Betfred World Championship. It all changed from that second frame yesterday, Dennis. That's what I feel. I mean, he was on a 64 ahead, I think, and missed it. Straightforward red to this bottom right hand corner pocket, and Nopon made a wonderful clearance
49.
to win on the black, and ever since then totally knocked Sean out of sync, and Nopon Saengkham grew in confidence with every frame. It's been a very accomplished performance, this.
51.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, it'll be the greatest victory in his professional career. Turned professional in 2010. World ranked number 42 up against the world ranked number 10 and former world champion. He'll be very gracious in defeat. Well, Sean Murphy, he's the perfect gentleman. But yeah, you can always
58.
pick out, even in a long match, one shot that turns a match around, and the one that you mentioned in the second frame definitely turned this one around.
63.
How is he feeling inside, this young man? It's
69.
a wonderful performance from this talented Thai player. It's a
76
big
final match.
shot in this year's
Well played.
Betfred World Snooker Championship.
Well
He'll be absolutely delighted. Very disappointing for Sean Murphy. But Nopon, what a superb victory. He beats the former world champion by 10 frames to 4.
Thank you, Marcel.